another episode of The High Ground powered by Premier Companies. Sal, how's it going today?
It's a wonderful day.
Good. It always is. Always a good day. Hey, today we're joined by Eric Kennedy with WinField United. We're going to discuss the Advanced Acre program and some about secure financing. So without further ado, Eric, if you don't mind, give us a little introduction to yourself and jump right in.
All right. Thank you. Glad to be here with you all this morning. My name is Eric Kennedy. I've been with WinField for about 12 years in various sales and customer-facing roles. Prior to that, I worked ag retail for about 6 years. So got a little bit of a diversity in experience and seen different parts of the country. And glad to be in this services role now and look forward to helping Premier Ag and your growers going forward.
What's your territory size now, Eric?
So I cover Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. And then we've got an account in New York also.
Who's your best account?
Well, of course, it's Premier Ag.
That's what we thought.
That'll probably generate some phone calls for you, won't it?
It probably will.
Eric, tell us a little bit about the Advanced Acre RX program.
Yeah, so the Advanced Acre approach is a data-backed warranty offer that we utilize by gleaning the data, the information from the answer plot system and taking a couple different approaches. So we've got, a lot of data and research based on singular applications like fungicide on corn or beans, or say a nitrogen stabilizer, right? And so we evaluate the performance of specific products, and we've been doing that for many, many years. And so a couple of years ago, we started testing, doing the research based on a systems approach. Okay, so thinking about the whole acre, from the seed, the herbicide, the nutritional piece, fungicide, plant health, et cetera. So we started testing the systems approach in addition to the singular products. So we've got a total acre offer as well as singular product offers on the Advanced Acre piece.
Okay, and the answer plots. Tell us what the answer. So an answer plot for our listeners, or even for some of our folks that may not be familiar, what is an answer plot, and how did you've got a lot of experience with those through the years with WinField and WinField United. So tell us about that. How you get the data and where that comes from.
Yeah, so answer plot is WinField United's approach to hands-on research and agronomy training. Okay, so it's composed of two different areas. One area is the research area in the back that's completely hands-off. That's where all the data, the numbers, and everything come from, and it's testing, everything from seed, how the different hybrids interact with population, nitrogen, fungicide. We test seed treatments, nutritionals, just about anything from a management perspective that you could think of going into a crop. Okay, so that's the back part, that's the research part. And then there's an area called the demo area. Some people call it demonstration. I call it demolition, because we're always out there. We're pulling ears, we're digging plants, we're tearing that area up to look at how those specific treatments impacted and influenced the specific plants, to see and to make sure to reiterate that the product is doing. We can see it, not just in the numbers, but visually in the plants. And so we've got, across the U.S., I think there's somewhere 130 to 150 ballpark. It fluctuates in different yield environments, different areas of the country. And so, thousands and thousands and thousands of replications and data points and observations being made on products from a research and a hands-on training approach.
So basically, we're through the answer plot system, we're trying out different hybrids and different practices and putting them in a real environment, and then testing by yield how much grain we take off the of that plot or how the performance is for that practice. And then we're replicating that across the country. And then now with that information, Eric, so now you or WinField United has come up with this systems approach. So tell us how that ties in with this advanced Acre RX.
Yeah, so we want to do, all that research to help take the burden off the grower of trying new products. Okay, so when the grower buys a new product, they're assuming all the risk in that product and learn in that learning curve with that new product or that new management practice. So, so by implementing that through the answer plot research and testing, we can kind of shorten that learning curve for the grower and help take some of that risk from that buying decision. And since now we have the data behind all that, and so that's how we offer it through a warranty piece that says, okay, from all the data we have, for example, if the yield is not X percent of their approved yield based on their production, on their own farm, then there would be a financial recovery on the back end.
Kind of like a warranty.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we know in ag research, there's a lot of variables, there's a lot of factors involved in product performance. And, 25 to 30% of the time, the outcome is influenced not by product performance. There's another factor that influences the outcome that has nothing to do with the product performance. In ag, that's just what we deal with because of those uncontrollable variables, right? And so that's really where the advanced acre piece and the warranty coming in helps lower that burden for the grower, helps reduce their risk in trying that product or that new practice in that 25 to 35% of the time when you don't see the yield on the back end.
Because when you plant a crop, now all of a sudden there's all these variables: weeds, there's insects, there's diseases, there's the weather, and so what it sounds like you're trying to do is take some of these variables into account, and with certain hybrids to put a warranty if they use the best practices, which 60% of the time or 70% of the time corresponds to more yield. Correct?
Absolutely.
And we really rehearsed this, didn't we, Eric? You asked me this morning. Eric sends me a text. He goes, "Hey, can you send me a list of the questions that you're going to ask?" And what did I say?
No.
Nope.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have an example for us, Eric?
Yeah, sure.
This is the first on the High Ground podcast. We're going to try to share a screen with a remote user.
So everything that can go wrong,
yeah,
we're going to queue it all up at one time.
And as per our history, we have not tried this yet, so we're going to do it the first time live.
There you go.
So far, it's working about like we thought it might.
Hey, I'm making progress here. I'm about to get it figured out.
There's no guarantee on the IT piece, right?
Let me glance over.
This is all yield, right?
At our IT professionals. Is that working?
It's working.
Remarkably.
Hey, we got a thumbs up from the IT group.
Good deal.
All right.
Walk us through this. This is a big day for us.
Yeah. So this is an example of Elite RX, which would be a total acre systems approach. Okay. And so there's 3 different levels in this offer. And you can see that going horizontally across where it says approved yield offer. So it's based around 95%, 100%, or 105% of the grower's approved yield, which correlates to the actual production on their own farm.
So
okay.
Explain that a little more, because that kind of confused me initially. What does an approved yield mean?
So when the grower has crop insurance, they report their yields at the end of the year to the crop insurance company. That goes into an actual yield database that tracks each unit of their farm, tracks the yield and the history and averages that. Okay, so that would be called an APH.
Okay.
Okay, the actual yield. So there's options when the grower purchases crop insurance. There's one specific option called trend adjustment, and so that takes into consideration the genetic improvements, the farm practices improvements, and things like that that's been implemented on the farm, where the grower's seeing an incremental yield that's exponential, not additive. Okay, from those changes of practices or improved genetics or so on and so forth. So a lot of times the approved yield is 5 to 8%, generally speaking, higher than the actual production history.
Because you said trend adjustment, because farmers generally, our yields have been increasing over time with new genetics, new practices, right? So that trend adjustment takes that into consideration.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so there's a warranty value tied to level of management. So the 95%, of their approved yield is a pretty low level of management. This would be something that I would think of on a very marginal acre. Okay, so it's not going to get very good management, probably because it does not have the yield potential to have strong yields year in, year out. It's probably a stressful piece of ground, maybe drouthy, for example. And so the only requirements to participate at that level would be the seed purchased through WinField Premier Ag, and then a solid herbicide program with the proper adjuvant. Okay, that's about as low level of management as you can get, right, Sal?
Sure, that's pretty much table stakes.
So when we move over one column to the right, so at 100% of approved yield, we would take that seed and herbicide program and add to it fungicide to protect from disease, and then the master-like adjuvant, which is a drift deposition surfactant type product that we've got data on through the research and the answer plot system that proves that it gets more droplets, more active ingredient onto the plant, into the plant to protect it from disease. And then the foliar micronutrient as well. So that would be that level of management. So we just stepped up the level of management just a little bit. And everything in that column or required so far is very common for probably 90 to 95% of the acres today. They're getting that level of management. Okay.
And we've had Glenn on here before to talk about the tissue test. I think Joe and Braden have also been on these podcasts talking about tissue test, and that's where we get the foliar micronutrients when we find the deficiencies there. Okay.
Yeah. So then we move over to the 105%, and so we've got probably a decade worth of data around Ascend, which is a PGR, and zinc in furrow when added to a starter fertilizer. And that could be in furrow or 2x2. Okay. So we've got a really solid data set that supports that agronomic practice. And that's what allows us to go to 105% of their approved yield based on that level of management. And then we're also looking at a premium fungicide, not necessarily a mid-tier type fungicide. So one of the, a new premium fungicide would be considered, the Mirabis Neo, Delaro Complete, or Veltima. Those are all top tier, most active ingredients, most modes of action. So that's required also for that level. So it's a tiered, it's a stair step level of management, and the better the management, data supports higher yields, and so we can offer a higher level of coverage with that level of management.
Okay, because it seems it's kind of intuitive here. If you invest more in the crop or you higher management, the expectations are, and the history has been, that the yields improve, and so the warranty value increases along with it.
Yeah.
Good. All right. And there was another one, that's the EliteRX, and then there's also one on soybeans.
Yeah, so we've got an Elite RX offer on soybeans as well. Same approach, the total acre, uh, seed treatment, herbicide program, residual herbicides, not going out with just Gramoxone, and burning down and then coming back with Roundup or something like that. I mean, it's a comprehensive.
Old school.
Yeah, what? Oh, that doesn't work.
He's got an old soul, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He's speaking truth from years past. Yeah.
It's a comprehensive management plan. Okay. Same thing there. Foliar micronutrient. Like you said, tissue sample. We want that to be prescriptive, and if the tissue sample comes back and says that no nutrition is required or nothing is responsive or deficient, then we would make the recommendation not to spray anything. Right? That's the approach that we take. And then moving up that level of management, premium fungicide, and then making sure that we have that additional seed treatment where we know there's sudden death in those fields. Okay.
Very good.
Same approach. It's levels of management around that total acre piece.
Just good agronomy.
Eric, are there differences in these layers on the seed treatment on the beans? I mean, you said treated seed is just to get you into the 95%, correct? I mean, is there multiple layers for the seed treatments or no?
Yeah, so the seed treatment piece, it has to be a fungicide and insecticide seed treatment.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay. Yeah. And there are, as we know, there's different rates and different active ingredients that are used, and it needs to be a top-tier product like a Warden CX or Acceleron that's got multiple fungicides as well as insecticide.
Yeah, it's kind of a dirty little secret in the industry is some people don't tell you what the components of the seed treatment are. And we're a cooperative system owned by our farmers, and we're telling them what we're selling them. So we're, when we have the products out there, we list the components.
Yeah, It's seed treatments. It's a really big gray area, and there's some of the products we compete with that have 1/4 of the fungicide active ingredient that we put in Warden CX. So it should, when you start doing math like that, it should cost 1/4 of the price, right? If you get 1/4 of the active ingredient. So.
You'd think.
But they're so pretty.
Some of them look like marbles and M&Ms, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So what's what's the ImpactRX? That's a different, same along the same lines, but a little bit different.
Yes, the same but different. The ImpactRX are based around singular product applications. Okay, so this is one that's called NUE, nitrogen use efficiency, based on corn. And so, we do a lot of data and research around nitrogen stabilizers and how, environmentally speaking, we want to reduce the nitrogen loss in the fields that makes it to the waterways and bodies of water, right? And so certain nitrogen stabilizers prove that they do a good job of that, and the grower can have more efficient utilization of their nitrogen that they've purchased by using a nitrogen stabilizer. And so this is based around one singular product. It's specific nitrogen stabilizers. Again, we're looking at the top tier products, not a single mode of action type stabilizer.
Okay.
We want something that's going to protect against leaching and volatilization and denitrification. So, lower cost per acre, a little bit lower warranty value, but helps mitigate some of that risk of a grower that's not been using nitrogen stabilizers could participate in this offer, and if they didn't see the yield correlation to using that product, then there would be financial recovery to help offset the cost of implementing that practice change.
I like how Eric started off, Ryan, with saying that this allows a grower to try a better practice or a newer product with some not having the risk associated with having an expense that doesn't turn into a positive return. So
yeah.
All right, show us one more, just for example, and then we'll switch over. We'll change gears completely.
Yeah. So here's a Impact RX plant health on soybeans. Okay. So based on the soybean crop, purely around plant health and using a premium or a top tier fungicide. Okay. So there's a lot of, think about soybeans and disease. There's a lot of frog eye that's being confirmed as resistant to certain fungicides. And there's still a lot of generics and single mode of action fungicide products being used in the market. And so this is a way that a grower can use, move up that ladder, so to speak, of products in the fungicide market, get a product that's multiple modes of action and has a higher level of protection from diseases, some diseases which may be resistant to one of those active ingredients. And so this is a risk mitigation tool that we can implement and help the grower help carry some of that burden and risk for the grower to try a higher quality or a top tier fungicide on their soybeans.
Very good.
Yeah, this seems like from years back when I sold, when we wanted to introduce a new product or up a level of management, the old way to do that was to give some product away, and you never chase that all the way through to yield. So there was no value put on it without a price attached to it. And this seems to be a way to promote. Let's see it through to the end. Let's make sure it really does work, and it's still with some protection on it on the back side, not the front side. It seems like this is a better way to gather information with protection than we used to do it in the past.
Yes, and one of the neat things about the process is the reconciliation method, and it ties right hand in hand with how the grower reports those yields to their crop insurance. Okay, so it's not, we don't have to get the weigh wagon out, and carry it out there and weigh 10 strips across the field, be very easily collected information data, just whatever that yield is for that insured unit on the grower, however they collect and report that yield, we follow that same process. So the reconciliation process should have 100% success, where it is followed all the way through, because it falls hand in hand with how that grower is reporting the yields already.
And you don't have to leave an untreated check, because if it's a good practice and it's going to increase yield, you don't want to not treat acres and do a test right there. You want to make sure you treat them all. So
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, if you'll pop back to full screen, and we'll see if we can pull this. Look at that. God, we're getting good, Ryan.
I'm amazed.
Tell us about the secure financing offer.
That was just seamless, wasn't it?
Seamless. We're surprising ourselves today.
So we think about financing. With WinField United, our financing option is called Secure, and it's pretty well straightforward. It's a grower financing option that has attractive terms, very competitive rates in the market, and still allows for a high percentage, a high rate of seed prepaid benefits. But also we can start that now. That I think the program officially started September the 1st. So we can go ahead and lock in products and rates and everything there. And the loan does not mature until February after the crop is harvested. So it's February of 2024 for the 23 crop. So that allows a lot of flexibility for the grower through harvest and through marketing their grain, where a lot of other financing options in the market are due November or by December 15th. Ours carries out until February. So another 45 to 60 days before that loan is due.
You said three things there that stand out with this program, and for our listeners that aren't in the industry, so the grower can lock in a prepay price without a penalty. He can lock in a fixed rate, and in an environment where interest rates are creeping up. But the last thing you said about the the term, it allows a grower to market his grain into the following year, into the following crop year, which is unique in our industry. Most of these do come due in November, October, November, December. Well, that doesn't help you much if you're going to try to market your grain in January and of the following year. So it's a really neat, lot of flexibility, very favorable interest rates, and they're fixed.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, Eric, what's required to get it?
So we can actually do, so there's a few different levels. The up to $500,000 loan it's a one-page application. Pretty. It's a quick turnaround. Pretty low level of information that's needed to get there. We actually just had some improvements and can go up to $1 million loan with a one-page application and 1 year of balance sheet type information. So the credit department at Premier Ag has all that information, and there's an online application process now. Very easy to fill out the information and get the results. One other thing that is unique or something worth mentioning to me, and I think about, this is the secure financing piece is a different pool of money that's being accessed. So the grower can still use John Deere. Credit does not impact that balance or their loans for John Deere. They can still work with their local farm credit service or community bank. This is a pile of money that's in addition to those other sources.
Is pile of money an accounting term?
I think it's a very official accounting term.
Pile of money.
Sometimes it's bucket of money, sometimes it's pile of money. We're flexible.
Yeah, for the record, we don't literally have a pile of money, so just.
That was the answer plot day, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Boxes of money.
Eric, that's a good summary of the program. If our growers or listeners have any more questions, they can certainly contact their account manager or anyone here at Premier Ag. Ryan, do you have any other questions or comments for Eric?
I do not. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you all for having me today.
Thanks, Eric. That's another episode of The High Ground, powered by Premier Companies.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.